Well, hey there, friend, and welcome back for another episode of the Your Hair Mentor podcast, where I'm your host and your hair mentor, Crystal Green. And I invite you to come take a listen to the top leaders and thinkers and experts and innovators in the beauty industry as they share their stories of triumph and struggles and success in creating their businesses behind the chair. I hope you enjoy these episodes just as much as I did recording them. See you on the inside, friends. Tell me where you're located and we'll go from there.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm from Oxnard, California, just an hour south or north on the 101, and I'm in LA right now. I've been here for the last 12 years. And yeah, should we kind of dive into the beginning of it all?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so yeah, I started obviously in high school, dyeing everybody, being like punk rock, dyeing everybody's hair random colors with Kool-Aid and Manic Panic. And that was heavily influenced by my aunt, who was like 80s beauty queen stylist, and I grew up in the salon, like sweeping hair and listening to the gossip and digging in her makeup always, and just walking out full blush all over my face. And that was kind of my introduction to the beauty world. And then in high school, told my parents, like, the conversation, like, I really want to go to cosmetology school, and that wasn't really an option. Like, we didn't have the financial means to do that, support that dream. And so I ended up going to Ventura College, which is a local community college, and it's great. I totally switched, the script, and I was like, I really want to study like the beginning of human and interaction and why we do the things we do based on like our environment or XYZ. And I ended up studying anthropology. Totally different from beauty. And
Yeah.
then I ended up taking my last semester there, taking a course that was an elective for stage makeup, because that just sounded fun. And I was like, well, that'll be easy and it'll be fun.
Yeah, got that one.
And then I ended up staying like another semester and like really immersing myself in that behind the scenes environment of student one act plays. And my stage makeup teacher was also the she ran the entire costume department for Ventura College. So Abra Flores, lovely, and she really put me in that space of hair, makeup, beauty. She showed me kind of the ins and outs of it. And I kind of reignited this, well, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And at that point, I was living with my high school sweetheart, and bless him, he was supporting me while I was in school and waitress part-time. And I was like, I think I'm gonna try to do this on my own now, like try to go back to cosmetology school and figure that all out. And I did. I ended up going to Paul Mitchell, the school in Santa Barbara, and I got a beautiful education there with like amazing instructors who are like now dear friends of mine. And then I ended up getting a job with MAC Cosmetics, and it was like the best of both worlds. Like, I got free education and training through them for, makeup and beauty and the ins and outs of that. And then I got all the salon experience with the Paul Mitchell program. And I did have the opportunity to go to Santa Barbara Community College for beauty or for Cosmo license, but it just felt like I really wanted to know like that more advanced skill. And it really did pay off, because I was already at a higher level than most people that come out. And I, for the long time, thought that, like, to all their own, like, you can do kind of however you choose to do it on a budget, for sure. Like, I was planning to do the community college and then like take courses, like Vidal Sassoon courses on the side. And so there was a lot of options at that point, but I ended up doing the Paul Mitchell way and got a short-lived behind the chair experience, because I would show my book to these salons and they were like, I don't know if you're cut out for Santa Barbara. They're like, you should go to LA. Like, you need to be out there. And my book was so like there was really nothing but like, fashion shows from school
Yeah.
or whatever. And I had a short-lived career there just because I didn't want to waste anybody's time. And I did really love being in a salon environment, but I just in my heart felt like I really want to be behind the scenes. Like I got a little
Mm,
taste of it in college and I just really wanted to try to pursue. And there weren't a lot of resources like
right.
Facebook, like 2007.
Yeah,
So
I was
Facebook,
gonna ask you, when was it that you started your hair career? What
yeah, it was
year?
like 2007, 2008.
Right.
And there wasn't a ton. So like I would
No.
watch my favorite movies and write down who was in the credits and try to like Facebook stalk them because Facebook was like kind of up and coming. And
Oh, you're scrappy. I love it.
yeah, I mean, I had, I
Yeah.
found out like, okay, there's a union, and then I
Mm-hmm.
called and I was like, "Hi, how do I join?" And they kind of like chuckled and were like, "It's on the website." And it was pretty discouraging, and I just kind of fell into it, I guess. I saved some money and I moved down and I got involved with theater in Thousand Oaks from
Mm-hmm.
referral of Ventura, and started helping out any shows that came through, and saw like wigs being applied, saw wigs being ventilated, and then I just kind of kept going, like Craigslist, UCLA student films, like working with a lot of those students because that was like my introduction to it. Of we all kind of came up together and like you're all kind of figuring it out together. And uh that was really special. Like I people that ask me like how do I start, I'm always kind of like, you have to be in that location, because
Right.
even living an hour and a half up north was a dramatic move for me. Like I didn't think I could do it financially. And then I was available, like you get the last minute calls all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of how it was. And I just, anyone that needed headshots or anyone that needed like hair makeup or
Mm-hmm.
lens or
Yeah.
whatever it was. So it kind of just all happened. And once that like momentum was like I was getting a little bit of referral and a little bit of clientele, still not in a salon, and I built my days, built my hours, is kind of how you get into the union. And there was a system called I think it was 60 60 60 or 30 30 30. I can't remember, but it's like something where you accumulate within like a, a 3 to 5 year period, but out of the 5 years, three of them have to be consecutive with 60 60 60. That's what it was. So you had to have like all these call sheets, and certain things didn't count. And it was kind of again another like challenge of figuring out how to do this when you have zero resources, zero connects. And
Yeah.
I jumped into it. So finally joined the union and been in it for the last 10 years, I think now, or 11,
Wow.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great. Like I started really really young, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm about to be 34, and people are always questioning my ability. And I'm like, oh no, I've been doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, it's so hard. Like when you're 19 and 20, trying to figure out, like, you have one semester to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. And
Right.
it's so overwhelming and stressful. And, it
Mm-hmm.
changes like at the blink of an eye, like, okay, like I want to do this maybe or that. And so yeah, I just kind of jumped in with a bunch of different artists that were also kind of the same age, starting out the same. And
Mm-hmm.
I do really bad low budget movies, really bad
Yeah.
horror films, but I made friends with those people. I'm still really great friends with them today. Like one of my really closest friends that I met, she was the shop manager, Michelle Chung. She just did everything everywhere all at once with me, and so it's like full circle. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
never gonna know like where these contacts land, like where these relationships go. And I'm so thankful and I'm so glad. And here we are, and popped out Tecuane during the pandemic.
Oh, is that when you started it?
Yeah, just right before. Like I was kind of already always like looking for little things I could help with my clientele. Like there was a common denominator I always saw, like no matter what hair texture you had, scalp issue is like number one. Like
Seriously.
my
Yeah.
scalp, like people, that didn't really understand like how to properly shampoo and like don't have that education because maybe they don't go to a great salon, or they're
Yeah.
like on a smaller budget, or they buy their shampoo and their products from Walgreens or the drugstore or whatever, Target,
Yeah.
and that's like totally fine. But I would just see from like, a background actor to my main talent that I just see always the same thing. And I'm like,
Huh.
and then, with the wigs, like you want to prep the hair beforehand to make sure that has a really nice hydrated, moisturized state, and before you put the cap on and all that, because these actors are wearing those wigs for like 12 hours a day plus. So
Wow.
the long-term effect can really get to you. So yeah, 2019, I was, mixing my own little things like I always did, like tea tree oil, lavender oil, and and I was like, oh, it's too greasy, too oily. And then I ended up taking my own little concoction during Everything Everywhere and tried using that on Michelle Yeoh, and it worked. I'm like, okay. And then the pandemic hit in March in 2020, and there I was with all the time in the world. So what a better way than now. And so it was a really great opportunity because I just got to like be present, be in the moment, and focus like really hardcore on what it is that I wanted to do with this brand and
Mm.
with this
Yes.
product. And it's so delicious, and I'm just so excited for everyone to like get their hands on it.
Uh-huh. Well, it's not just at least from from an outsider's perspective, looking at what you put on social media and on your website, there's a story behind it too, which is so lovely when there are so many options out there. I am a sucker for a good story. I know so many of us are, but like if the bottle is pretty and it smells good and there's a good like person behind it with a good story, I'm like, I'm in 100%. So
Same. Like it
yeah.
could be like a bottle of tequila to like like stovetop cleanser, like
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, exactly.
Finds it looks pretty
Totally.
on my counter.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, no, same. And I mean, and this product too, like I wanted to dedicate to my grandmother because, we had just lost her just 2 years before the pandemic, and she was like my mama bear. So
Mm,
that was really hard. And the grief comes in waves, and I thought, well, what a better way than that to honor her and like honor my culture and introduce people to like the Mexican American dream. And this is what it is. It's those ingredients that I grew up with, that I use for home remedies for healing this and that. And so I was very, very intentional with what I wanted to pick. And in the beginning, like of course, scalp anything, it's like peppermint, tea
mm-hmm.
tree, menthol. And I was like, yeah, but those aren't me. Those
Yeah.
aren't my brand. I've like what I wanted my brand to represent. And I really wanted to incorporate like the manzanilla, which is chamomile, and like something soothing. And my grandma would make a cup of that all the time, like if
Mm.
you tummy aches or cramps or whatever it be, headache. And
Oh.
like the cactus, and in Spanish we call them nopales, or prickly pears, a tuna. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, okay, prickly pear extract, like we need to incorporate that. And a lot of these hydrating ingredients and nourishing ingredients. So I just kind of came up with what would be a superfood but for your scalp. Like we already
Yeah,
cleanse our skin, and I think that people are lacking the education of how to really take care of your hair means to take care of your scalp. And
absolutely.
I saw a trend happening where I was like, okay, people are starting to notice that there are ways to cure within, that you don't need these harsh chemicals that are quickly absorbed into your bloodstream and your system. And I've always kind of tried to be the more healthier version that I could be. Once I moved to LA, of course, like I never
Yeah.
heard of a green juice. I was like, well,
Yeah.
I did, like a licuado, like a smoothie, but I didn't was like, what is this? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So, your lifestyle changes a little bit depending
Yeah.
on what the environment is you're in. And so I started realizing like the things I'm recommending to my clientele was like not the best for them. Like these
Mm-hmm.
things had a lot of chemicals, they had like side effects, and so
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to make that my mission of just like creating a sustainable hair care method for like any generation, any gender, and any hair texture,
Yeah.
because that was the, like that was the like core thing, is just to like create something that for a community that wanted to have that diversity and quality and over quantity. Like we have
Mm-hmm.
so many things, and
Yeah.
that was another part of like, okay, well, we have every product you could possibly think, like, why is mine different, why is this going to be special?
Right.
And well, because of my background, like
Yeah. Yeah.
literally looking at scalps more than the average person a day, like up to
Yeah.
14 hours a day.
Right.
And that was just a common thing that I just kept seeing, was like, okay, there needs to be a change specifically here. And how can I make that in like incorporate it with everything that I've learned, everything that I can teach and give back, and also like uplift my culture and community and have
Totally.
other people like
Yeah.
embrace it and learn, like,
Mm-hmm.
now's the time. Like, I
Right.
think that's really important for sure.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds like it's like the perfect culmination of like your aunt influencing you in the beauty industry, your grandmother influencing you with like natural remedies, and then all these scalps that you're seeing. It's wonderful. I love the idea. So
Yeah.
I have a question for you as a hairstylist. I know for myself, I tend to lean towards more natural, healthy choices when I can, because it is a very toxic industry, or it can be a very toxic industry,
Yeah.
right? It's getting better.
Yeah.
But I've noticed more often than I would say maybe the last 10 years. So the first half of my career wasn't so much a topic, but now everyone is talking about scalps, like clients talking about their scalps. It seems like everyone I know has a scalp issue. And so I wonder, and I wonder what your perspective is on this. Do you think that we just have always had scalp issues and we're more aware of it now and we're kind of fine tuning that awareness? Or do you think that there are things going on in our lives and our lifestyles, that are influencing our scalps also? I feel like I'm kind of in this, like, I don't know.
Honestly, I feel like it's a little bit of everything. We hair loss or anything that can happen with our scalps is always going to be from within. Like, what's happening in here? Like, what's your diet look like? What's your family history look like? Did
Mm-hmm.
grandma lose hair soon? Did she go gray first or bald? Like, I was like this weird theory, like that me and my husband kind of were like, you either go bald or gray, but not both. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
or sometimes both, but I hardly see it. So,
Yeah.
there's like always little things. Like it could be like your environment, like what do you do for work? Where are you? Like, where's your hair? Like, are you working outside daily? Are you indoors? Are you stressed, or do you have
Right.
anxiety? Like,
Right.
especially now with the pandemic, like I saw such a rise in beauty as far as skincare goes, and I was a huge advocate as well. Like I had my gua sha every day, taking that
Yep.
time to myself of like, not only can I meditate at night, but I can also like meditate my face. Like, great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so
Amen to that.
I feel like it's a little bit of both. Like
Yeah,
people are really overwhelmed right now. Like it's hard. Like, we also didn't have our phones out all the time like 10
that's
years
true.
ago, and we didn't have like all that information at the click of a button or swipe. And now like there's maybe too much information and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes misleading information. And so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now it's easy to find that gray area with the internet, because someone can easily say, these are all the things that worked perfectly for me. It's like,
Right.
okay, well, they might not work the same for someone else. And that's another thing with Tecuane, is that uh, all these ingredients are really great for promoting hair growth and stimulating that. But I also am very careful with how I present that, because it might not work the same for everybody. But the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I can guarantee is that you can take that time to yourself and introduce this new product into your hair care ritual.
Yes.
And that's so
Yes.
important, like taking a pause and a break to even like to have a couple deep breaths, like that is crucial to like the crazy
Mm-hmm.
happening, not only in the world, but like in your daily life, and just
Yes.
taking that beat for yourself. And
Yeah.
something that I kind of push, like this mindful hair care, because it is mindful. It is making you take that time to really just like pause and love yourself, like self
Mm-hmm.
love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with the craziness, like that was, the pandemic was hard, and I think people are still like maybe this year, like, okay, this is the year, I'm gonna get back at it. I'm gonna really like invest in myself. I'm gonna really do this and that. And no matter what your budget is, or like, I think you can do that with just like breathing techniques or like a tonic and a comb that's really going to help you just kind of like be present and be in the moment and have that like all those good things happening. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's tricky right now, but I am glad that there's like this rise in scalp care and hair care, because I did see it within the last year. Right before I was launching, I saw like three huge brands pump out scalp tonic. I was
Yeah.
like, damn
Yeah.
it. But,
Right. Yeah.
still, even though I have three moisturizing oils, I have almond oil, I have jojoba oil, and castor oil in my ingredient. They're at very small percentages. So it's just enough to nourish, but not enough to make you greasy. So that's the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no one from Sephora steal my idea,
Right.
please.
But you know what? Even if someone copied the exact same ingredients, it wouldn't hit the same with like your target audience, because
Yeah.
you're selling the story, and like you said, the ritual. When you said that word, I was like, yes, that's what it is. To me, that was the appealing aspect of like your whole brand, is it feels ritualistic and like a form of self-care, not just like, oh, some cute product I'm gonna spray on my hair and forget about it. I actually wrote down mindful hair care when you said that. I was like, that needs to be a hashtag if it's not already. It probably is.
Oh, I use it all the time
Okay,
in
I'm
our
like,
bio.
duh, genius, mindful hair care. That is like exactly what I'm trying to do in my life. That's what I try to get my clients to all do. It seems like the things that interest me these days kind of fall in line with that, like mindful, self healthy hair care practice. So yeah, even if someone came up with the exact same thing, I don't think you'd be in any danger. Like you serve a very interesting niche in the market, and I think like those that see it, that it speaks to them, they're gonna be like, no, that's the one that I want.
And you know what? Like I've already had one small encounter where a brand that shall not be named, they ordered from me and they just launched a new product with very similar ingredients. Not the same product, a completely different product, but pretty similar ingredients. And I was like, well, at this point, I'll just take it as a compliment, and whatever happens, happens. But
Yeah.
it's the overall, like, I'm just trying to focus on what really matters. And it's really like building this community that can
Mhm.
trust me and trust that like this will not only help them like mentally, emotionally, physically, but also like in their appearance. Like right now, I've been launched since July. And I'm at the point now where I'm having a lot of people purchase their second bottle. I'm having the reviews flood in. I'm having people send us before and after pictures, and it's just overwhelming response of like my density's gotten thicker by X%. I've been using this consistently for 3 months. I've seen such a dramatic change, and I'm just like
That's
great,
awesome.
because it worked for me and I was my own guinea pig. Like my
Yeah.
celebrity clients and myself were the guinea pig, and I like take my monthly photos and see that I was very stressed out. Pandemic happened. I was definitely like receding and
Uh-huh.
had a couple follicles still pop out, and I really took that time to like focus on where I needed that growth, and massage daily, and used it if I was going to go run for a run, or I was going to go for an overnight treatment, like just kind of leave it soaking in and really get all those nutrients, like the most I could out of it. And I saw a dramatic shift in my hairline, and I was like, okay, we're on to something. Because
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
at first I thought, well, this could not only just be like a really great prep or a base for any hairstyle and any texture, with hopes that like something might actually be promoting growth. And
Yeah.
now that I'm seeing people with like some really nice results, I'm like, okay, checks out.
Yeah. So how would you recommend that people use, like, what's the best way to use the product?
So I use it. It's so versatile. Like I personally love to get the most out of my money always. So I even if it's my own, I
Right.
um I really love using it when I have clean wet hair right out of the shower. I'll put my main drops in my center part. I'll put them here along my hairline and in my crown, and sometimes even in the back of my nape. And I'll get my comb and I just kind of work that in. And I'm a big fan of air dry. Like, I rarely use hot tools, especially, pandemic. Like I was able to grow like all of this. And so that really
Wow.
helped. And
Mm-hmm.
keeping up with that scalp care, so I really love to use it that way. I also love when my hair's super dirty, like now, because I'm gonna work out later.
Uh-huh.
It's everywhere in my hair, and then I just put like a little bit of a light like flaxseed gel that I have from oh, I forget her name, Rizzo's Curls. And I
Uh-huh.
don't have curly hair, but like
Yeah.
it's a very lightweight cream for me. And so I use that on top, and then after a workout, I'm really sweaty, in the back of the neck or like here,
Mm-hmm.
pop it in. It's always in my purse. So there's many ways to use it, but I feel like the best way to really get that longevity of it is either clean wet hair, blow dried or air dried in,
Mm-hmm.
or an overnight treatment. I think is like
Gotcha.
the most beneficial, because yeah, you really want the scalp to like absorb all that delicious nutrients. Like,
Mm.
we got, I think I named a couple in the beginning of the ingredients, but there's also a lot of protein. There's plant collagen. There's saffron stem extract, which
Mm.
I wanted something a little bit different. I saw that a lot of companies, I don't know if they were just kind of piggybacking off each other, but a lot of people use like apple stems extract. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, that's great. Like, but let's try something different, something that'll actually like promote the hair growth and encourage it, and also like stimulate and benefit it. There's caffeine in it, which is great.
Yeah.
Vitamin B5, all those moisturizing agents,
Mm-hmm.
of those oils, and I feel like there was one more. Oh, green tea. So,
Oh, yeah.
and a little bit of sage. So
Okay.
just a little bit of everything, and just enough where like you're not going to feel greasy. But
Okay.
if you do use it, I think like I encourage people who really want to see that density, that stronger hair strands. I say to use it like at least 2 to 3 times a week, but if
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're using it every day, naturally you will have a little bit of grease. So
Uh-huh.
kind of just depends on like how you do your skincare. Like, some
Right.
people that feel oily don't use oil, though they
Yeah.
should. And it's kind
Right.
of like the same thing. Like a little bit will go a long way, and you just kind of have to figure out what works for you, and like, your system with your, cleansing of your hair and all
Yeah.
that.
I'm sitting here thinking, my last podcast episode that I did was on sauna usage and the benefits of it for like your hair and your skin also. Because we all know it's good for our bodies, but I did a deep dive into hair health with it. And I'm like, oh, this could be a really good combination for a sauna session.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, like I'm saying, this whole like way for a treatment. Like, so
Yeah.
now working with the amazing Simply Organics team, we've been kind of making like a list of how you can use it in
Mm-hmm.
the salon experience, and also offer it to your clientele for a take-home experience. And I'm saying like you can use it like for a scalp treatment
Mm-hmm.
service at the bowl, at
Mm-hmm.
the chair. You can put them, a cap under the heater. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's all beneficial. And because it's all naturally derived and plant-based, like no harm will be done. Like, there is sage, a small percentage of sage oil. I think we're at like 0.2%.
Mm-hmm.
So like I do have on our website like women who are expecting pregnancy or things like that. Like I know there's certain essential oils that they might need to stay
Right.
away from. So, like again, like less is more and kind of finding out what works for you and all that. But
Yeah.
it's great because, I just wanted to create one hero product that really, really did work and was like beneficial. Like I also
Mm-hmm.
use it when my hair is wet. I'll put a little like a dropper in my hand, and then I'll just kind of like put it from my mids to ends and kind of
Oh,
let that air dry,
uh-huh.
or put it in a braid and let that
Uh-huh.
air dry. And I found like that really works really nicely too,
Hmm.
almost like even because it's got all these really nice ingredients that essentially do work like a toner for your face. So
Yeah.
it can translate to your hair as well. So
Yeah. What does the product consistency feel like? Like if you were to put it in your fingers and move it around.
I I say like the consistency kind of feels like a non-dairy creamer.
Oh,
Like it's not as heavy as like a milk or a creamer that's, you know, like a heavy whipping cream, because that obviously has like those fat cells, so it's a little bit more dense, so
uh-huh.
it's a little bit lighter.
Huh.
So a very like light to medium kind of water consistency.
Okay.
And I've done it where like I've put it on my hand and it just kind of melts and absorbs in with like a light little shine because of those
Hmm.
oils. And it's got this like very light milky white kind of color. And
Yeah, I noticed
yeah,
that looking at the photos. I'm like, it almost makes it look like a face serum. You know how they kind of have that like slippery, watery kind of
yeah,
texture. So I was curious
yeah,
if it was similar.
yeah. And we're free of palm oil, sulfates, parabens, synthetic fragrances, silicone. That was like
Mm-hmm.
the number one thing. I was like dimethicone's on everything. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, so it's got a nice like quick absorption to the scalp, and the
Mm-hmm.
smell, everybody's like, are you gonna make a candle?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll be ordering a bottle today because now I'm like, I just want to have my hands on this stuff. So, I'm wondering for a second if I can ask you about some like business stuff. Not that like I'm not curious about product production for myself. That's just not in my wheelhouse, but I am curious for someone starting something like this. Like how did you get to be like picked up by Simply Organic Beauty? Because they're pimping your stuff out for you now, which is great, you know?
So
Like,
lovely. Well, I think the whole production line, again, it felt like how I felt almost 12 years ago, lost and had zero guidance. But now I had so many resources at my fingertips. So I studied formulations. I did a couple classes with a woman in Paris, online, read so many different books, tried making all my own things. I made my own shampoo, conditioner, balms, everything, you name it. Shampoo bars. I thought I
yeah.
was gonna lead the world with shampoo bars. And then I realized how hard it was to just produce like 10. And I was like, there's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And I could not for the life of me find a manufacturer who did them the way I wanted to do them.
Yeah.
So yeah, Simply Organics and we've been Insta besties for a while, and they've been following my hair care journey because they also run the OA Northern America kind of portion where they distribute them.
Uh-huh.
And again, like I was saying, a couple years back, I went like a more natural route. Like I went vegan in
Mhm.
2015 and still don't eat meat to this day, but I do eat fish and eggs occasionally, so I don't say that I'm vegan anymore, but that definitely made me switch up like and be aware of like what I was doing and what I
Mhm.
was wearing and what I was consuming and what I was putting in my body, and deodorant, toothpaste, all those things that just like you kind of turn a blind eye and don't really pay attention to because
Yeah.
it's quick and cheap and affordable. And I switched to OA products, OWAY products.
Uh-huh.
And they were life changing for me. Like I felt an instant change in my hair, and so I was tagging them all the time. Like used this today on this client, this is what I used on this hairstyle. And
Oh, so you were using them like on your hair you were doing on set.
yeah, so
Okay,
not
gotcha.
only was I using them on myself, then I started using them on my clientele. And then
Mm-hmm.
we began that internet relationship. And so
Gotcha.
from there, they saw I was up to something and they ordered a sample. And we had a couple meetings back and forth. And yeah, I think within like 2 months of being launched, they were like, okay, great, would love to have you on board. And my heart just dropped. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sephora, Nordstrom retail, that feels so far-fetched for me right now.
Uh-huh.
And getting with Simply Organic, it just felt like it was incredible. So I feel like for anyone that's starting out, just really networking from the beginning, like what's your intention, what's your mission, what's your goal? Like whether it's, making a product or increasing your clientele, like where do
Right.
you see yourself? What do you want? And like start asking all those questions before you even kind of begin, because then you'll have those relationships. And again, you never know like who's looking, who's watching. And
Right.
I've always been very, very like careful of my relationships with people and kind of who I'm putting into my space, and want to make sure that we're all like-minded and, all on the
Mm-hmm.
same page. And
Right.
yeah, I'm just so happy that they were like on board right away. And it was so funny because during our meeting, like I think only a couple of them had tried it and not the rest of them, but everybody like had a mutual understanding and agreement. So I was like, oh, this is exciting. Like
Yeah.
you kind of like go based off like what we are talking about in the beginning of like what's the aesthetic of this product,
Yep.
what's the story, what's this mission, what's their values, and
Yes.
both just kind of align, like we feel the same and really just want to have like a plant-based hair care community that like loves substantial quality. Like
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. And I feel like I can trust the products that they stand behind because they have such high standards for things. So I know if they're pumping something out, it's probably pretty good.
Well, yeah, and also like it felt like such a pat on the back moment because again, they rep very few brands
Yeah.
and very luxurious brands, and
Yes.
also brands that I was mentoring my product off of. Like, wow, I'm so inspired by that company. Okay, cool. How can I make mine different but still align with those values? And then to come back full circle where they're like, cool, so we would love to have you. I'm like,
Oh, that's so cool. That's so great. I mean, congratulations. Seriously. I feel like that's like, it's such a monumental step as like a single person to come up with something like that. And I feel like you're just going to grow like crazy.
oh,
So
thank
that's
you.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
been hard, it's a challenge. Like I still kind of don't know, but I have an idea and I'm like, hey, if this TikToker can sell 300,000 lip glosses from her
Yeah.
mom's, 2 bedroom, why
I
can't I?
swear, I know. I say that all the time. It's like, oh my gosh. If this 16-year-old TikToker can do it, I can do it.
And like I still have a full-time job. Like I'm working
Hmm.
60 hours a week on set, and I don't start my next TV show until early February. And so right now I'm just taking the time to really like focus on Tecuane, give it the love that it deserves. And it's just me and my husband. Like there's no other, like
Okay.
we are everything. Like he is also a pilot instructor right now, so like our like free time is very
Not
non-existent.
really free. Yeah.
So it's been like a challenge, but thanks so much for those kind words, because
Yeah.
it does feel like, you, because you're on this journey alone, you do feel like, am I doing it right? And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
at this point I'm just, my goal, I'm not trying to do what everyone else is doing. I just want to do something new that means a lot to me and brings a community together. And like if I can
Right.
just do that and have like a cool brand that like has really great quality, then that
Hmm.
I did it already. Then
Yeah.
like like
So I wonder, so I think about this for myself too with my business. All of my stuff is just online products at the moment, like digital courses and products. And it's a lot to handle as one person. And I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm like, do I hire someone? Like, at
Yeah.
what point do we grow? And like, do you see yourself maybe bringing people on in a team, or are you just like, nope, it's just
Yeah.
going to be me and my husband?
No. I mean, that's the dream. I would love. It's just, I also this whole brand is based off of, or not even based, is funded off of my dream house down payment. So like, we're still in our one bedroom house,
Yeah.
so I would love to bring on a team. It's just I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, once we can find like the funds to keep adding on, of course, or if like I get that momentum and I'm like hoping that we blow up on TikTok one night and
Yeah, yeah, right. And
and
it just,
that'll do it.
yep,
But
yep.
I've had such a really great community of influencers, and especially like Latina creators and Latinx creators, and
Mm-hmm.
like that's kind of where I'm finding out, and again, just being observant and seeing like who's on the same page as me, and
Mm-hmm.
what they say and what they post, because it's tricky now with influencers and brands and those deals that are just kind of going downhill. So I'm
Yes.
very careful and mindful of who I bring
Yes.
into the circle, and just want to make sure that we have the same values and intention. But no, I definitely hope that in the next couple years, that I can have an office and have a team, and I don't have
Yeah.
to think of all the things by myself. And one of my mentors is Sandra Velasquez, who runs Nopalera. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a bath and body
Okay.
and she's kind of on the same route where she does, like embracing the Mexican culture through like sustainable bath and body products. And she said this, where she was doing her soaps from home, from her 500 square foot Brooklyn apartment, and then it got to a point where she was also her manufacturer, like she was everything. and
Yeah.
and I knew from my experience with the shampoo bars, no, that I cannot
Yeah.
sit here and try to make sure it's the same every time. So I knew manufacturer
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And just hoping that with like the sales and our growth that I can definitely have a team at some point. So I'm excited for that part, because
Yeah.
just it's getting a little overwhelming, and so I'm trying to do everything at my own pace, and have that space for like our personal life, my business life, and my career life. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
things happening.
Do you think if your product business blew up, like let's say overnight TikTok blows you up and you go bananas, do you think you would quit doing hair on set?
I think I would step away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would quit. I just think that like my love and my goals and my mindset maybe shifted a little bit, and maybe I would only do the things that I was really passionate about, and not the things that I had to do because I had to do money. Like, so I might
Mm-hmm.
step away from like sitcom TV, because that's usually where I'm at Monday through Friday.
Gotcha.
But like, I've been doing it for 10 years, and I've hit that mark where I'm like, okay, what else? So I feel like if, we had like an amazing investor or something happen where the business grew overnight or in a couple months, definitely would look into like, leasing an office, bringing on some teams. Like, I think social media manager is definitely something I'm looking into, maybe even by the summer,
Yeah.
because that is it's
It's
a
a lot.
lot. And
Mm-hmm.
as having your own business, like,
Yeah.
sitting and making your calendars and doing all that, that's already like a full-time job. And then you have to be customer service, you have to be the packager, you have to do the refunds, you have to do everything. And so it's been just different, like experiencing it all and kind of like learning
Mm-hmm.
as I go, but also slow steps, because you really, time is money, money is time. So you don't want to make the wrong mistakes too quickly, and just, one day
Yeah.
at a time kind of vibe. And but yeah, I mean, I could only hope that one day I have the space, and
Mm-hmm.
we can get into like cool small boutiques and cool salons, like Simply Organics is helping. So
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about what show you're going to be working on next? Is that
Oh
something?
yeah.
Okay. What are
Yeah,
you going to be
totally.
doing next month?
Did you ever watch the Santa Claus with Tim Allen? It was a Disney movie.
The
Like,
like newer one that came out, I did not see
yeah.
that. I've like seen the previews for it because I have kids, so it's like on the, roll all the time, but I have not actually
Yeah.
watched it.
Yeah, so I designed all the hair for that show
Oh,
and did all those wigs. So then we're doing season 2 now. So
okay. Okay. Well, I'm
yeah,
gonna have to go watch it now that there's like
it's
a
super
face
cute.
behind the hair.
Yeah. Oh, and I have such a great team of girls and they're just so talented and yeah, so it's super fun. So it was so well received that Disney Fox Studios were like, let's go quicker and sooner because it was a really tight turnaround from when we filmed to when, it's such a long process with editing and,
Okay.
getting everything to turn around to then premiere by December. So
Wow.
we're starting a lot earlier this year. So Christmas in February.
Gosh. Yeah, you're like Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, literally. But it's exciting. And so we're gonna bring, we're gonna bring some new designs in and maybe some old characters from the films. And yeah, so it'll be really
Wonderful.
fun.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. I didn't know if it
Yeah,
was
no
like
worries.
hush
I
hush or
know.
not.
Yeah, no, not this one, but
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be fun.
Cool. Well, this is so fascinating for me. It's what you do is so different than what I've done for my whole career. And I just think it's so neat that as a hairstylist, there are so many different paths that we can go down, right?
Yeah,
So like
totally.
I still work behind the chair like part-time basically while I am trying to grow this online business. And I don't know if I'll ever want to fully walk away from working behind the chair because it's like my art and my craft, but
Totally.
and and then there's people that they stand behind the chair their whole career. There's people that only work on magazine editorials. It's just,
There's so many things you can do. It's wild.
yeah,
But, and that's such a like, that's not only is it like an amazing craft and creative outlet, but like, making someone feel good about themselves. Like, oh, that's what I loved so much. Like being in the
hmm,
salon for my short-lived period. But even like, being at the Mac counter, the Mac store, like,
yeah,
selling a woman a lipstick who didn't really feel like she was gonna even buy one. She just came in for a mascara, and
yeah,
like
yeah,
the light on their face would change, and I was just like, oh, you're so
yeah,
sweet. Like, and that's just so like life changing, So it is hard to step away from that because
yeah.
I totally get it.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
like, well,
hopefully what we're doing in these other businesses will also bring that kind of value to customers, right? Like they're going to love
totally.
and feel good with their scalp, or they're going to have success behind the chair with coaching, all that kind of stuff. We can touch
Totally.
people's hearts in other ways, but
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
I'm just fascinated because your world is so different than mine,
Oh,
and it was
I
so
know.
interesting to hear about.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, it is. It's pretty wild. Like, I remember when I started, people were like, "You're on set all day," and I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I missed a lot of family functions and best friends' weddings and all those things, and so now I'm at a point where like, I want to start having my own family, and I women do it, and men and
Uh-huh.
everyone that are in our industry, but it's hard. It's so hard. So I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm just trying to look for a different sustainable lifestyle where I'm not
Yes.
like pulled away 24/7, where I can finally just like give myself like the time that I deserve and the
For
career.
your rituals, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
You're like we're all about promoting rituals for other people, and it's like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
about what about us?
I know. That was the
Yeah.
thing. We're just like, okay, you're like, what else can I do to benefit like not only myself, but a community and like,
Hmm.
and the art still, but yeah,
Hmm.
there's so many different routes you can go. So
Yeah.
all of them very fun, all of them very different, and all of
Yeah.
them have different goals, but
Yeah.
very
Well,
rewarding.
I really appreciate you chatting with me. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I feel like I'm gonna have to like reach out to you again in 6 months and see where you're at with this because I think
Please.
you're gonna do some big things and I'm excited.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if I can just make a couple people happy, I've already done the deed. I'm like, I don't know. I like people are like, yeah, where do you see it with the future? And I'm like, I really don't know. Like I would hope that, we have a larger team, obviously, there would be more
Mm-hmm.
budget, but at the end of the day, like I feel like I've already won the prize. So
Aw, that's so sweet. I love it. Gosh. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to be stalking you on social media
Perfect.
for
Great.
sure.
I'll stalk you
And
back.
wonderful. And yeah, I'm gonna reach out and we'll try to have a re-chat maybe in like 6 months and
Okay.
see where you're at. And I will definitely have the product in my hands by then.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Crystal.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for taking the time. And yeah, just
Yeah.
let me know when it's up and I'll share it and then we'll go from there.
Beautiful. Sounds great. Well, take care and I'll see you on Instagram.
Great. You too.
Okay.
Best of
Thanks.
luck. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, friend. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of the Your Hair Mentor podcast. It has been my pleasure to be here as your host. Again, my name is Crystal Green. And until next time, my friend, as I always love to say, have a wonderful hair day, and I'll see you then. Okay, bye.